Hey everybody, this is Chris. I'm here today to give you a tip for your market value that helps you out with your market value with ladies in some situations. And I actually developed this one about 15 years ago. Well, actually, I started reading about evolutionary psychology and how it relates to market value and women and things like this in 1999. And I decided in 1999 I was going to change everything about my dating life by working in the realm of psychology and branding and marketing, and many of the studies that I'd read in that area, which help customers determine market value for really anything, like products or things like that. And one of the most important things is if something is in infinite supply, it's just not interesting. So, like for instance, in a great book that I just love on influence and persuasion, the author did a series of studies on cookies, and he put two identical cookies in two different cookie jars. So this one was full and this one was mostly empty. And then he had people come in and taste these cookies, and he would of course ask them, which one is your favorite cookie? But he would say, before they answered, he would say, most of these are gone because these are the ones that most of them liked. And everybody likes them. So of course, even though they were the same freaking cookie, they were rated 2 points higher on a 10-point scale for taste. Same cookie. So what you want to be doing is something similar to that with the women in your life that you're interested in your dating life. So do not make yourself infinitely available. One of my things that I developed, I think it was in 2003 or 2004, when I was working on getting my first Miss Finalist girlfriend, my Miss Germany Finalist girlfriend. Just as an example, I asked her out for a coffee, and I went down, and we agreed to meet at a coffee shop in town, the next day at a certain time, and I went down there, fully thinking she would show up, and I sat there at the right time, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. So I think after an hour, I just got up and walked away. Now at that point, I decided I could either go back to my old way of doing things, which would have been to write her and say, why didn't you show up? That was kind of not nice. Or pull out my new trick, which I came up with, which was something like this. It goes something like this. Not in every case, but it goes something like this. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the coffee yesterday. I hope you didn't wait for me too long. 2 weeks later, I had her in bed, and she was my girlfriend. So, and actually now, I don't even recommend that you wait until that point where you're actually sitting there for an hour and a half. What I started doing a few years ago was, if we set up an appointment and I noticed that a date, we set up a date, and I noticed in the 3 or 4 days before that date that she's starting to get quiet or becoming really quiet, and I don't hear anything for the 24 hours before, I kind of just assume it's not going to happen. And so then either the day before or like 12 hours in advance or 6 hours in advance, I write her and I say, hey, you know what? I'm so busy, there's no way I can do this. I want to do something with my friends tonight. And that just completely shifts the power dynamics. And one thing that was happening, 10, 12, 13 years ago, or 7, 8 years ago with my brother especially, he was getting a lot of women standing him up. There were a lot of women canceling on him. And one thing, I wondered was, they weren't sure about his market value, and he had to demonstrate to them, just like they occasionally demonstrated to him, that their market value was higher than his, and he had to turn the tables and do that to them. And so this is an interesting tool that I use in my attraction toolbox. It works pretty well, and I use negative pressure as a vacuum in these situations. It's another one of my favorite sayings, negative pressure is a vacuum. So if you put negative pressure on, take the pressure off, you become more interesting, and in my opinion, the long-term attraction possibilities are much increased. Because if you're there and you look like she's totally interesting and you're kissing her ass and you're busting your butt to be there, in my opinion, that's not exactly where you want to be with your women. Now, I wouldn't really have much right to speak, except for the fact that I went from a totally average dating life. You should see my first girlfriend after my divorce when I was 33 in 1999. She wasn't an ugly girl, but it was completely different than what I've dated in the last 13 years. You should have seen her compared to the Miss Germany finalist, Miss Russia finalist, Miss Ukraine finalist, Miss Ukraine winter date, and the Playboy model. And the other women I've been seeing in the last years of my life, just completely different. So I have to say, I'm never going back to the old method, and so I'm happy to teach you these things in a series of seminars and courses that I'll be doing here in Moscow, actually. But I'll also be posting more and more videos with tips like this here on YouTube and in other places. So anyway, I got to get going. And that wasn't just a trick to increase my perceived market value with you. I'd be going. I've got some stuff to do, but I hope you found that tip interesting. I've got lots more like them. All right, have a great day. Bye. Hi, this is Chris. One last thing. I want to tell you about a series of seminars I'm doing in Moscow that will give you better dates, better women, better sex, and a better life. This series is called How to Get and Keep Your Dream Woman. These will be a series of seminars which will tell you how I went from being a total geek and completely incapable with women as a teenager to long-term relationships with a Miss Germany finalist and a Miss Russia finalist, both of them about 15 years younger than I am, as well as short-term relationships and dates with a Miss Ukraine finalist, a Miss Ukraine winner, and a Playboy model. Now my phone is littered with gorgeous women in their mid-20s. My dating life is better now at the age of 47 than it ever has been. In my 8-hour seminar, I'll give you an attraction toolbox and talk about everything from body language to flirting and prospecting. I'll teach you ways to optimize your market value and get yourself the kind of women you like and deserve. In addition to spending hours working on your attraction toolbox, I'll tell you how to boost your testosterone by 20% naturally and easily in 4 minutes a day, how to instantly get someone to like you, and a simple addition to your diet which will make you more attractive to the opposite sex within 6 weeks. Seats are limited, and for this series there's a 20% discount, valid only for this round of seminars. So hurry and reserve a space for yourself soon. Take a look in the video description below for all the info. The seminars will be held on 4 Saturday afternoons over the course of 2 months, but we're also looking into one-day seminars lasting 9 hours on a Sunday for those of you who can't squeeze 4 Saturday afternoons into your schedule. This stuff is useful if you've already got a relationship, and it's also useful in your business life. So I look forward to seeing you there. Have a great day.